personally one of my favorite segments on a Friday. We are joined by veterinarian Kavita Persad for Lunar Light Vets for Pets segment, where we get to become better pet owners. So good morning, Kavita, and welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks again for having me, as usual.
It's always a pleasure, particularly because you give us so much great insight as pet owners. And this time, underscoring something that we kind of overlook even in ourselves as humans, much less for the pets. So we're talking pet obesity and being underweight, something I can relate to in the latter parts, to be quite true. But it is a real problem for us as humans, but I think probably more so on the side of obesity with pets, because we think, oh, they're well fed, they're chubby and plump and squishy, it's good.
Correct. So typically I'd say in Trinis culture, we tend to think the fatter the pet, the healthier or the better, which isn't always, true. Well, it isn't true.
Right.
And it's not just in Trinidad, it's like a worldwide epidemic too. Spread across a lot of countries, owners think the same thing. So it is a common problem that we see in, as being veterinarians, and also frequently asked by owners, like, they want to know, is my Bella hair too heavy? Is Max a little chunky? So it's different. And we need to be able to recognize that as pet parents, since the whole point of this segment is geared towards being that.
Well, let me ask then, because as in terms of dogs versus cats, the most popular of the domesticated animals anyways, I learned that certain breeds are leaner than others. So I actually thought that my poodle was underweight because I could see a little curvature to her underside. I don't know what it's called. I learned that this was actually how the dog was supposed to look. Well, so how do you determine what's ideal?
Right. So, I mean, again, it will vary for different breeds and, even sex and with age as well, right? So that part is solely research, but ideally, generally, I should say, there are different ways of identifying if your pet is underweight or overweight, right? I'm just gonna state like two of the really simple ones that we could do at home.
Right.
So it's basically using our fingers to feel their rib cages. You wanna be able to feel like a thin layer of fat there, but still be able to count the ribs individually. Okay. And from above, you want to be able to see like a nice waist or a waist from the side, right? And this is generally applied to dogs and cats. With cats, they have a little fat pouch, so it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, right? But that's one of the easier ways. And another great thing that helps us is something called a body condition score chart. So maybe owners could Google that, and that actually tells us what is ideal, what is underweight, and what is overweight. So underweight, you'd be feeling like the pin bones like around the hip area and that kind of thing, but ideally too, you don't want the dog or cat to look like a chunky sausage, right?
Right.
So
I remember seeing a sausage dog whose legs couldn't touch the ground because his little belly was fat. So we know that one was overweight for sure.
Right, correct.
But then what do we do? So let's go with the overweight first. What do we do when our dog or cat is deemed overweight?
So since that is the problem that we'd see most of the time, basically it comes down to physical activity and feeding, right? You want to be able to
feed and exercise like people.
Exactly. It's the same as people, because people don't think, or owners don't think, that pets would have the same issues. They don't understand the importance of if the pet is overweight or not, but it could lead to problems just like with us, like arthritis, cancers, heart disease, all these things later on. So it generally decreases their quality of life later on, and you want to be able to prevent that. So feeding, so portion sizes, make sure they're feeding the right amount a day, and this will vary depending on breed, right? Increase in physical activities. So if you're able to take your dog swimming or even more walks, right? I know that isn't always feasible for people, but a simple run in the yard for 10 minutes with your dog, is fine.
So let's go the other side then. If they're underweight, what does that look like for treatment?
So again, the best thing would be to talk to your veterinarian. So increase the portion size. You could probably increase like snacks to reward, but it'll go the opposite for the other side.
Right.
A lot of people reward their dogs and stuff with snacks too many times throughout the day, which increases.
Oh, to be a
So
puppy or
it just goes both ways.
Now, we talk about dogs and cats because largely those are the most
Right.
popular. But if we're looking at things like birds, which I think are very popular as well.
Again, those
that
things
apply to you?
generally applied for dogs and cats. For like other animals with birds, diet is heavily involved. So a lot of people feed their birds seed diet that has a lot of fat in it. So like parrots, for example, they only get sunflower seeds, which is really high in fat, and people don't know that. Well, not they only get, but a lot of people just feed solely that. And that increases obesity in parrots. So we got to look out for that.
I've never seen a obese parrot, I think.
Yeah, they get...
What do they look like if they're obese?
Well, you could Google it, but along with, they get like fatty tumors and stuff too. And your veterinarian would be able to let you know if your parrot or pet bird is on the obese side of things. Right? But it applies for even rodents and, well, or rodent pets like guinea pigs, hamsters, and even rabbits. Right? And remember, these animals are a bit confined to cages a lot of times. So again, increased in physical activity and, you know, just main thing, diet. Right? So you really, really have to do your research when it comes to what pet you have.
I'm very much regretting all of my plans with my dogs and even my hamsters, because I think now of how little I would even take them out of the cage and how short their lives are. So I'm wondering if I was a good pet owner.
You would.
We cross our fingers and hope for the best on that one. But in that case, in terms of treatments as a vet, yes, we look at diet and exercise as what we can do home. But let's say it gets beyond the point of us at home being able to manage that. What does it look like when it's a dire situation where the vet gets involved and it's severe?
So they actually have specific diets geared towards weight management in animals, right? So again, different types of brands, different types of diets. So some to decrease weight and even to increase
weight.
Yeah, so if it goes beyond the point where you can't help, but it really solely comes down to at-home treatment, because remember, you're with the pet. So it's only so much a veterinarian could do. We could only advise and, you know, do our best.
Well, in that case, we hopefully will do better, as we've been now equipped with the basics of, at least, of looking at our pets to determine whether or not they're over or underweight. Really surprised that we had to actually feel ribs. I always thought ribs were bad. So that's good to know.
You don't want to feel them too much, but at least feel like a nice thin layer of fat over it.
And a waist.
And see the waist from above and from the side. But again, it would vary. So you could Google the body condition score chart, right? And that would help tremendously.
I don't know if my dogs have a waist, but I'm going to go check now. And I implore you to check on your pets as well to make sure that you continue to be a good pet mom or dad. Thanks to the tips from Kavita Persad, our in-house vet, who will be joining us next Friday as we continue to bring you the Lunar Light Vet for Pets segment here on the Now Morning Show.
I'll try to bring an animal.
I'm now going to say, Kavita, next time I'm going to bring a pet again, because I missed sushi. But for now, guys, we take a break, come back with more after these messages here on the Now Morning Show.